cool stuff. Anybody?
I did the practice from last week. It's funny because like at the beginning of the week I'll remember to do it, and then like by the end of the week I always forget. But but it was cool though because I found like with some of these things that I want to do that I feel are really cool and whatnot, and I would realize which I kind of already knew, but it helped to point out to me like if I'm feeling like even if it's something cool, if I'm feeling like anxious or like nervous about it, that's being in my person, and it was just like a nice little reminder just to kind of chill a little bit more. And I used the mantra, need do nothing, which I kind of stole from the chorus. Mm-hmm. And just knowing that, I am going to do things, but just taking those moments like I need do nothing in this moment, and just like being there in the present and just like taking those times to do nothing and just like kind of let everything just chill. It was really nice. But it's like last night I got upset about something and I totally even forgot to do the practice. I didn't even like think of it. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's the journey. Anyone else? There's so much that goes on, but so little words we want to say about it sometimes. So try to.
The big happy glow and the laugh is cool stuff from the week.
Yeah.
Well, I've been having some revelations come to me lately, and the revelations are that my true being, my true self, I can never not be that, no matter what my mind is proposing to me. Even if I get stuck in my person for a while, my true being always comes back. It was a certain feeling of inevitability, like no matter what, no matter how hard it seems sometimes, it returns to itself. It's one of those ones that's kind of hard to put into words.
Yeah.
But like we talked about last night, it was just pretty clear to me that my real being is
rock solid.
It's going to win.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And the more I've become comfortable with the new group and my kind of slimmed down ideas for teaching, the bigger and more powerful the love space seems to be. And it's just a feedback to me that we don't need all the complexity of complicated beliefs and ideas about how the universe works. And if you want to play in them, they're fine. But to learn to just, I want to be at peace. I want to be in love with you. Go there. It takes care of everything. That's pretty simple. And I think this group's going to continue to change up because a lot of people don't want that simplicity. They want mind food or entertainment. And that's all right. But as I said, from all my journey all along, I actually feel like more is growing faster with this simplicity than it did through the Course in Miracles and other things that I explored. So that's my thought from the week. And it shows up, between Susie and I too, it just keeps getting simpler and easier. It just feels better, it's bigger. I don't know how to describe it. So it's very practical. It's very much about living, not believing. So. Well, I had a couple ideas for tonight to get things stirred up. And the first one, I want to look a little bit about this thing with our person and our being, and taking some more complexity out of that if possible. And secondly, I want to look at relating versus relationships. So that's some ideas to start with. We teach kind of very basic that we have our person. It's our body, personality, our human. And behind that, we have our spirit or being, which encompasses the person, but is greater and higher on the hierarchy of love and intelligent thinking than our person is sometimes. And that awakening is learning to go to our being or higher awareness and make decisions and live in joy from there, rather than responding and reacting to our human brain and experiencing in reactive panics or anger and such. So that's pretty simple. And what I was musing on a lot this week is sometimes I catch myself trying to sort out, well, what's my person or what's my being? And I know other people call me on that and ask, and okay, so what is going on there? And we want to keep reducing this in simplicity. We want to make it easy. It shouldn't be a psychological checklist with every thought or desire I have to see, is that my ego or person, or is that my spirit, or is that my real life, or is that a past life? And so how do we do that simply? And an answer came to that it felt really good and pretty cool. The first part is just kind of looking at what is before the answer, and that is we need to be willing to accept that our person does need changed in some areas. There's places it has issues, it has fears, it reacts, it gets angry, it hates, whatever. And if I think that's me, I have trouble letting it change. That's how I am. That's how I've always been. So we have to have a willingness to see our person for what it is, and then a willingness to want it to become peaceful and be able to express whatever in love. But the trick then, it seems, is very simple. Whatever comes up in me, I don't have to think about where is that from. All I need to do is ask, how do I express it in joy and love? So something makes me furiously angry. Whoa! I want that desire to be changed, to be an expression of joy and love. That takes me to being. I don't have to sort anything out. I don't have to analyze anything, because all I'm doing is asking how to use all the energy of my life, no matter what form it was in the past, how to use it in peace, love, and joy. You can't lose with that simple of an operating system. You just, okay. And again, the big trick is we're so used to identifying with the person, and it comes up like, no, that really makes me angry. That shouldn't be that way. And we don't recognize it, but we're really saying, I should be angry about that, and I'm going to be. And as we get more aware in some of these areas, you will actually see where your mind loves it. The mind does everything out of love fundamentally. It loves to get angry. It loves to hate. It loves to whoop up dramas about anything and everything. And if you can see that and just acknowledge it, you can be at peace with your mind and say, all right, yep, I've done that before. I want to do something different now. Spirit being transform my mind or my person. So just that very simple idea just eliminates all kind of psychological mind searching and mind games, and you don't have to go read some more books to figure out the difference between your ego and your person and your higher self and your past lives. It's just whatever comes up, it's an energy of life. Even terror, outright panic, fear. Okay, that's what I'm experiencing now. How could I be experiencing peace instead? Show me. And there's no need to dissect things any longer. And I think once we've reached this point that we have touched our being in peace and love, and we know we like that it would be nice to have that through and through, and to learn how to get to it and use it every time for everything. Once we've reached that point of self-awareness, we can go to this simplicity. Before that, we needed to convince ourselves that peace would produce better results than anger or attack or defense and such. But at this point, as we've just felt, life should just be good, simple, peaceful, joyful, loving. Yeah, that's all I want it to be now. Then it's like you're over the hump, you're over the edge, and you can't go back. And now you can trust your being to safely bring along your human and transform it. And just to finish this segment, it is necessary to see what's in the human that needs transformed. Anything we keep hidden in the unconscious will sit there and incubate, and it will emerge again. And as the human likes to do it, kind of like little kids that throw tantrums every now and then, it's like it just builds up an energy that it's like, I have to express this, and it lets out a blast of trauma or fear or anger or whatever. And then that satiates it for a while. That's what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. And it goes back to sleep in the unconscious, and we say, oh, I'm glad that's over. Well, we do need, when it starts coming up, to say, oh yeah, there is that in me. It's okay that it's there, but I want that undone now. And that's the work part of this awakening. And you can't avoid it. So many spiritual or religious teachings try to sell this mystical element that you can learn the right prayer, learn the right beliefs, and suddenly you'll be transformed and be perfect and in peace the rest of eternity. Maybe at some point that does happen, but it's not how the process goes on the way to get there. You have to be willing to, as I might say, embrace your person, to acknowledge it. Stop thinking of it as an enemy. It may be crazy as hell. It may be nuts, but it's just what's there. So, okay, here's this or that. I want to see that transformed to be an expression of peace, love, and joy. Okay, so that is the process, the adventure of awakening. But then I like to talk about where it brings us to, which is living in love and joy. That's a pretty sweet thing. So, and I've talked on this before, of course, but as we deepen in anything, it's amazing how much the simplest ideas can change and get bigger yet simpler. And bringing up this topic again of relating versus relationship. Well, it's so simple, but the mind likes to examine things. We'll do that for just a minute. If I form a relationship, what I've really done is describe how you should be to me. Now, whether that's a brother, a mother, a dad, a child, or a life partner, it doesn't matter. I have created a definition and a package, and I have put it on you, and as long as you be that, I'm going to love you, and all will be well. But don't you dare betray me and be something except what I said you are, because then I'm going to be really pissed. And that's what we call a relationship. It's a complicated web of these ties and binding energies. The alternative to that is just relating right now in love all the time. So I don't relate to Susie any differently than I do to Dawn or to anyone else, or even to Josette, who's brand new here to us. But the feeling of openness and love and appreciation is exactly the same for every person and almost every living being that enters my experience. The form I choose to relate in is different with Susie than it is with some other people. But the essence of it is the same. And that relating is always, I'm me being me, you're you being you. So what are we doing here together? What's this dance doing right this moment? What do we want to play and enjoy? And that's it. As soon as you throw in, oh, well, you got to, or I have to, or you should, it begins to build a relationship, and it begins to tighten up, and hell begins to emerge. It takes a while to learn that if you just stay in love, it takes care of everything. It takes care of discussions of how to pay the bills, or what to do with extra money, or what we want to do tonight, or it takes care of everything if you just stay in that state where you're always looking into the person's soul and just enjoying who they are. That is relating. It is the only true relating. Because everything else is just a projection I make up and say, well, look at the look on their face. I decide you're angry at me. Now I'm going to get defensive, and I'm going to watch you, and you see me getting defensive, so you get defensive, and see, I knew it. You're just getting ready to wad all up there, and we're going to have at it. That's not relating. I created that. I created this relationship, and I stuck it on you. Relating is the actual experience of me being me with you being you, and seeing what the dance is doing through each of us this second. Oh, well, can you really just do that all the time? Yeah. Diane's learned to do it, I know. Yeah. And I do it with my kids. I do it with Susie. I do it with everybody in group that comes around. And the more you do it, the more, quote, rewards you get. And it deepens until, well, why wouldn't I want to be wholly in love and enjoy all the time? Why would I want to take time out to be angry again, or to be even frustrated? It's like, all right, I see it coming up. There's an old pattern that when this happens, I should be angry. I don't think so. It's more fun to just be happy and be connected and bright. Awakening is accepting that through and through for every minute of our experience on this planet with everybody. And that's it. I mean, you can't really get much simpler than that, except once you learn it, you don't even have to think this stuff about it. You just, oh yeah, there you are. Okay, let's see what happens. You know? And it works. The only hard part is getting rid of the old thoughts in the mind which bait us to come back and pay attention to them, that I can be betrayed, I can be disappointed, I can lose something. I need to hold on to this, I need to make it keep going. So we have to learn those activities of our person aren't true. I don't want them to be true. And I will let them get unmade or undone. That is the work in relating. The love part's easy. It's just wanting to go there instead of wanting to be angry or frustrated or possessive or whatever. So, like transformation of anything else, it takes practice. It takes a devotion. You can't be devoted to another person. It's like traditional marriage. It symbolizes the right state of relating, but the way it's most often said and used is not right. You cannot commit to loving another person the rest of your life. You can commit to staying in love with them all the time and see what that produces in your relationship for the rest of your life. And in some, there's going to come a partner, and just staying in love all the time is so fun. Why would you want it to be somebody else? And it lasts the rest of your life. But you can't demand a commitment of yourself or another person. You can say you can, and people do, and 60% plus of all marriages end in divorce. They all said, I commit to loving you forever. You can't make a commitment to another person. You can only make a commitment to yourself to stay in love. But it does amazing things with every other person if you do that. You don't have to commit to your children in responsibility. You just love them. And yeah, there's times you want to help them, and there's times you tell them there's the door. But you do it in love. You're not feeling either obligated or guilty or any of that, because you're sharing their life adventure in joy. They're them. It's exciting to watch their life, but it's no different than mine. It's not greater or lesser or anything. It's just two people sharing the joy of life. So everything in the mind that says there's got to be more to it than that is going to begin to pull us out of love. We don't have to throw them out. My kids will always be my kids and call me dad when they call me on the phone. But there's no binding in that relationship. And it has changed over the years many times, and it will continue to change. And, Susie and I refer to each other as partners. But that has changed already many times and will continue to change. You've got to be able to let go of the mind that wants to lock at something down and define it if you want to stay in love. Because every given second, all there is me being me, the way it is right now. Here I am, ton of crap just come up in my mind. I feel like being pissed. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go sit in the corner and leave me alone. That's me being me right now. And then every second is you being you. And you want to get up and dance and do the polka and all that and go find somebody else. But it's always in that total respect for both at the same time. There's no conflict. There's no dissension between us. It's just me being me with you being you and respecting both perfectly. And things just sort out so fast and easy if you do that. It's incredible. You stop needing to raise your voice most of the time. You learn that you can just say what you want or like just plainly. You don't have to elaborate it or beg for it or make it happen. And life just becomes so smooth when you're in love. So whatever aspect of our life we're working with at any moment, it's all about setting this goal first, that it can just be in that place of peace, love, and joy. And I may not be able to see how regarding this right now, but I'm going to trust that it can be and just ask my being to begin getting me there with this topic, this issue, this person. And then watch and see how it happens. You can't do anything to speed it up or to help it, which pisses the human or the ego off terribly.
Oh, yeah.
All you can do is say, no, that's not how I want to be experiencing this anymore. Show me the peace. No, show me the peace. And maybe 10,000 times or so a day. You need to do that at first with a particular topic until you really have. It's actually when we decide at our core, like, no, I'm done with that. And then it goes very quickly after that. It takes a little while. And so we do that. Why not? Because it's on our mind anyway. It would occupy us all day long being miserable or angry or whatever. Well, if I'm going to be occupied with this issue all day long, why not be occupied with it getting transformed instead of letting it take over my mind and now I'll go create some kind of chaos or conflict or hell in my life? So we just make that simple assumption. Anything can be brought to this peace. Show me. I'm all yours. Let's go. Okay, thanks.
Tim, when you're saying bringing your love to the situation, I think sometimes we get confused between, love is used for I love a steak, I love a person, or the real love of spirit.
Okay.
Early in my marriage, it was all about romantic love and just definitions and what I'm supposed to be and he's supposed to be, and we don't meet those definitions. There's hell to pay, on both sides, and it's misery. But the transformation is going to come from that love that is the same for everyone. That love that allows me to love all of you, and love those that I have quote unquote conflict with, or at least they perceive conflict with me. I don't necessarily have one with them. And when Jerry and I relate in that kind of love, where we see beyond the whole bullshit parameters of romance.
Yeah.
When you've been married almost 50 years, there's we love each other, but it's a different thing. And it's that allowing him to be him.
Yeah.
We agree on very little.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
And many people have said, I don't know, you two, I don't get it. Neither do we. But you know what? It's just letting him be him.
Yeah.
And him letting me be me, and not controlling the relationship. Yeah, there's stuff you have to decide. Are we going to buy a new cover for the hot tub, or are we going to pay for this?
Yeah, right.
Normal day-to-day role. But when it comes to just, I don't need him to be in agreement with me on every idea that I have or how I feel about anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not threatened by that.
Yeah, that's
and
sweet.
He's not threatened that I don't buy into everything he believes.
That's good.
We have this thing about UFOs and Bigfoot.
Okay.
He believes in UFOs, and oh, that's so stupid, and I'll, poke at him about it.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell him I believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Which, I don't really care if it is or isn't. I just like to jurisdiction. And that's what I mean is you can see the stupidity of trying to be the end all be all for someone
Yeah.
else. I don't want to be that for him, and he doesn't want to be that for me.
Right.
You know? I recognize that someday one of us is going to go. We're
Yeah.
not going to be a partnership anymore.
Yeah.
And that doesn't end the love.
Right. Because that's a key thing with this is
Yeah.